Salutations YouTube and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about something very serious. I've got something just to kind of rant about. So, humanity is in this weird fucked up state where we can't keep each other out of each other's personal lives. To the extent where we're going to go out of our way to dox somebody just because they're homosexual or homophobic. Here's the thing. You could be gay and be a good person. You could be a homophobe and be a good person. All it takes is not harassing people you dislike just because you don't like them. If you're going to harass somebody, which I do not condone unless it is absolutely justified, make sure that person is actually what you claim them to be before you do so. Take time to research. It's really not that hard. Disproving information is really easily able to be done once you start learning how to do research yourself. Which leads me into my next part. The educational system across all countries is pretty fucked up because no country is dedicated towards making their citizens intelligent. All governing bodies are there to make us fight each other so that way we get blocked and restricted from being able to have the most compatibility within creativity as possible. All of us could be the equivalent of Albert Einstein. Every single one of us, even with those of a low IQ, could be another Albert Einstein. It just takes us acknowledging that no matter our IQ, we can become intelligent if we go out of our way to disprove all the information we've ever received in our entire life. Including new, current, information, and old information that you've received from people like parents, or even that you've had since you were a kid from any other reason. Always go out of your way to disprove info. Every day, I'm going out of my way to make sure that the old info I've said at least has some factual situations on it. That's why sometimes a lot of you people watching my YouTube channel see me go back on some of my statements and say, hey, I'm learning that this is not the case. I thought it was the case before, but I was wrong. That's fine. Admitting that you're wrong is always the best step to be able to prove that you're a good person that actually wants to do some good change. Now, one topic that I'm going to bring up is a little bit about me. Psychotherapy. I'm going to be getting into psychotherapy here soon, and then after my months of psychotherapy, I'm going to be getting a job. So my uploading and everything is going to be a lot more sporadic and spread out. It's going to take a lot more time to be able to get to post a video. Hopefully here soon, when I start getting money, I can actually get a PC to be able to buy, to be able to actually start modifying and making good videos for you guys to watch, rather than me just sitting here talking to the camera over and over again. Besides that, I digress a little bit. Back onto the main point. I feel like us collectively as humanity is confused, scared, and afraid of absolutely everything because no information we've been told is true for the most part. And us collectively as the human race acknowledge this. So my question is exactly going into, why do we decide to fight with each other over information we feel like ourselves is invalid? If you're going to go out of your way to make an argument, don't bring up a point that is going to be used against you. Don't bring up a point that is something you can't really speak of too well. If you know you're not intelligent enough to speak on the topic, don't get the confidence in your head. Don't get cocky. You're gonna make the rest of you and your buddies look wrong based on what you said. For example, that one furry who went into the Fox News interview ended up making the rest of us look terrible, not only because he didn't understand that they were just going there to antagonize and harass him, but he turned out to be a massive fucking zoophile. What a surprise! Wow, the world comes back full fucking circle, doesn't it? Like, everybody that's been on the Fox News channel has been shitty. It doesn't matter who it is. Most of the people that's been on Fox News, except Pete Buttigieg so far, has had some bad shit done to them, or they've done some bad shit to people, or animals, or things in general. What is up with you news reporters always managing to find the worst spokespeople? Like, oh my god, I can't even emphasize how dumb this is. But I digress, it is still kind of goofy to bring up. That is basically the extent of this video. Just talking about this light situation, because in the end of the day, you don't need to care about who I have sex with. You don't need to care about how dirty the sex will be. You don't need to care about my sex whatsoever. All you need to care about is the fact that it doesn't hurt people, and that's the good thing. If it doesn't hurt people, it's fine, and it's perfectly fine. I don't understand why you religious people and you hardcore conservatives find that so hard to comprehend. If I'm being gay and it does not hurt anybody, not even me, then why do you care? It's because you got told or trained into believing that it hurts people, including myself. I'm gonna tell you, all these scars on my leg from suicide thoughts and stuff like that are not from me being a homosexual. They are from me being targeted because I'm a homosexual, and also my very shitty experience as a child. Those are different situations that have left these scars on my leg than being a homosexual. Being a homosexual almost has nothing to do with psychological trauma. At all. In fact, I was raped by my father, which should have turned me even more straight because I would have been more phobic towards the gays. And I was for a really long time super homophobic when I was younger. And then I learned, as soon as I became unchristian, that it's not that bad. It's really not bad at all. It's no different than dating a girl. It's no different. The only difference is that we have a penis in between our legs, and that's something you guys can't handle. And so, if you can't handle it, that's fine. I do not care. I will not force you to enjoy homosexuality. You don't need to. You can hate gay people all you want, just as long as you keep your mouth shut, and if you're going to criticize us or make fun of us, you keep it to your friends and stuff like that. Nobody really needs to see you be like, oh, gay people are so disgusting, every time they fuck they get shit all over their cocks, which doesn't happen, but if you would like to think that, go ahead. It doesn't hurt anybody, besides make people emotionally flip out a little bit. It's really all I can say on that matter. Just, it doesn't hurt people, so leave it alone. And if you think it hurts somebody, try to disprove it. Try to prove that it doesn't hurt people first. Always research the opposite of what you're told, is the other part that I want to say. If you're told that one thing is true, try to prove it false. If you're told one thing is false, try to prove it true. That is a good place to start off as well. It helps you siphon out information a lot more accessibly and easier. You don't have to use different operating systems. You don't have to use different websites and web browsers and VPNs and etc. just to research. I don't care what you're told. You don't have to. A lot of the information I've been researching and stuff like that when it comes down to war comes from journalists on the dark web, because that's the best place I could find real journalists, because guess what? On the dark web, there's like no censorship. So I'm actually seeing the dead bodies and seeing how the Ukrainians and Russians react to each other's dead bodies. And I will say so far, the Russians have been a lot more aggressive with dead bodies of Ukrainians than Ukrainians have been with Russians. In fact, once a Russian surrenders to Ukrainians, the Ukrainians immediately give them food and shelter, despite the Russians 15 seconds ago were just trying to shoot the Ukrainians. Like, there's obviously a good side and a bad side to every single thing. It's up to you to find out that fact. And it's up to you to make sure that your beliefs and ideologies and opinions don't get in the way of finding that fact. It's easier said than done. But as soon as you start doing it and you start to get to the hang of it, it becomes easier. Research becomes a lot more accessible to you, and information becomes a lot easier to siphon. Once information becomes easier to siphon, you become more intelligent, as most of the information you will be receiving is proven to be true, not only by yourself, but by people with high rankings in said fields that you are researching on. Say, for example, we're talking about psychology, or we're talking about Henry Freud. I'd be able to go over the fact that Henry Freud has done some fraudulent work, not because he is a fraud, but because of the fact that specifically some of the work that he said and the beliefs that he had at the time are invalid due to the new studies that have happened, and proving some of the stuff he said was wrong. But also, I keep in mind that in the 1980s was kind of the first time that psychotherapy was ever severely emphasized. So here's the thing, world. Psychotherapy is a new thing, and we're still getting used to the fact that the mentality of human beings matters more than anything else on this planet. If humans mentally feel safe and feel stable and don't feel like they're going to have a panic attack, then you're not going to have to worry about serial killers and stuff like that, because us people who have those psychological disorders and have cleaned out ourselves from those psychological disorders will be able to identify those easier and see the red flags and mark them and say something about them, which can cause an emphasis on assistance that we would never have right now. In fact, we are more closer to causing our planet to go extinct than ever fixing any solution or any finding a solution to fix any problem we've ever created. My apologies on the wording. We need to take time to start thinking before we act. And I really mean thinking deeply before we act. Spending hours of your day on one thought once you have the free time. And don't let yourself go emotional over it. If you find yourself getting emotional over the subject, take a break. I do it all the time. I am a very sensitive person. But I also know how to not be. And it's a lot of self-training that I've had to do because, yes, my mother is my mother and she should be the one training me. But she's also, I've told her straight up that I won't believe everything that she tells me. Which obviously is not the best thing to hear from your child, but it's also good to know that your child is going out of their way to prove things correct and wrong, and figuring out how to research and live for themselves, rather than being consistently underneath the mother's wing. A lot of you Republicans and Trump supporters want to talk to people like me that are fatherless because you think the fatherlessness is a problem. I can agree that it's a slight problem, as a man myself who's grown up basically with a woman being my man, probably helped me become a little bit more gay. But also, I was before this. I was gay before all this, I just didn't know it. I didn't really have that big of an interest into women sexually. And the only ones that I did, at the time I didn't know, were furries, so, animated. It's like, And you know, that's fine. Interests are interests. In the end of the day, that's my life. I chose to be like that. Not you. If I don't like women sexually, that's fine. I don't have to be forced to like women sexually to be a good human being. And you don't have to be forced out of Christianity or Judaism or Muslim or being Muslim or anything like that just because people want you to. In fact, to those people who want people to change like that for things as simple as that, get over yourselves. You're being emotional. And that's okay. It is okay. Especially if you have not done anything to physically harm somebody. The mental harm can be fixed. Most of the time. The physical harm is going to cause even more psychological damage that is permanent than will actually have, physical damage. But I digress a little bit. The reason why I bring up this point in conversation in my videos is because recently I've been looking at a lot of things online, and humans are starting to go a little bit crazy with their ideologies and their quote-unquote creativity over subjects such as politics. I don't believe that there's a sex ring of pedophiles in the politics. I believe that there's a sex ring of pedophiles in general, but I don't think the politics have too much to deal with it besides the fact that some politicians are involved directly. Does it suck? Yes, but it's something only us multi-billions of civilians can change. So, there's that. And here's another thing, right? I'm a gay femboy furry. Scott Cawthon is a hardcore Trump supporter. But I'll still play Five Nights at Freddy's. And it's not that I'm supporting homophobia, which I kind of do. And here's why, before anybody cancels me for that. Because in the end of the day, anal sex is a little gross. That's where shit comes from. If you don't clean yourself properly, the particles from the shit is still going to get all over your balls. So let's be careful about that. So it's understandable that these people would be homophobic because of that aspect. And a lot of homophobes are only homophobic because they get disgusted from the homosexuality part of anal. But then you'll ask them, will you have sex with a girl's ass? And they'll say yes. And that's when you tell them that it's literally zero different than having sex with a man in the ass. It's zero different than doing anal with a man. The only difference is one has a pair of balls in between the legs and no boobs. And less estrogen. That is the main difference. If a girl can clean her ass perfectly fine, a guy can do it too. So, I've told this to a few of my homophobic friends, and guess what? They've naturally started becoming less and less homophobic over time, especially considering that I'm the only homophobic person that they know. Or homophobic? Really? I'm the only homosexual person that they know, and despite them being homophobic still a little bit, they're now more okay with gay people because they're talking to me. somebody who is a homosexual that comes from a conservative background that understands the ideologies of these people and is able to break down situations without sarcasm or satire to be able to get people educated. And I think I need to start doing that a lot more online with my YouTube videos, which is why I'm also making this video, is to be a lot more articulated, to be able to help you guys understand where my content is starting to go. I want to do commentary, a lot of commentary, political or not, I don't really care. I'm even going to have a podcast, which there will be a lot of opinions on that people won't like of me, and that's fine. That's absolutely fine. The point of the podcast is to be able to discuss and argue with each other in the most logical, unheated way. If somebody starts to get irritated in the podcast, we'll all take a break temporarily, and we'll just talk about something else for a little bit to get our mind off of something, or we'll take a break and continue thinking about the subject if it's that important, etc. List kind of goes on. Not just that, I'm still having a funding goal for not just myself, but also for charities, actually. I want to try to get into cancer development and studying so that way I can see if I can help break down cancer cells to stop them from existing, essentially. I know right now there's a few cancers that we can get rid of, or close to get rid of, but we don't have the technology currently to be able to do so properly. So I want to be able to help us develop that stuff, and the only way to do it is to get to know people and have people know me personally. So I'm here to build trust now. That's kind of what I'm doing. So hopefully if you guys trust me, thank you. I'd actively like to say, though, even if you do trust me, try to go out of your way to disprove information I say. Try to disprove everything I believe in. I promise you it'll be better in the long run, because at the end of the day, I do listen to criticism. If you find out something that I said is wrong, and you show me, I'm going to listen to it. I'll research it, and I'll figure it out for myself. If I figure out that it's wrong, then it's wrong. You know? If I figure out that it's right, then I guess it's right. Or at least I'll believe it's right. But I don't have that strong of a confirmation bias anymore, as I've completely disregarded that for the most part. Obviously, every human being still has a problem with confirmation bias. That's not something you can necessarily get rid of, but I'm a lot more open-minded than I think most human beings are. If somebody tells me I'm wrong, I'm more inclined to start wanting to believe it and start going out of my way to disprove it. I hope for the best, expect the worst. So, if somebody says I'm wrong, I'll hope that I'm right, and then I'll go expecting into disproving it and expecting the worst. And if it turns out that I'm wrong, you know, I'm just wrong, and it's fine. I'll literally make a video next time being like, hey, I was wrong about this. Or I'll make a community post just saying, hey, I was wrong about this, here's the correction, here's what actually this is supposed to be, or whatever this means, and yada yada yada. It's really not that hard to do. The fact that I don't see it online that much is questionable, at least. That's all I really have to say. Thank you for listening to this 20-minute video. Thank you to all who have been watching my content consistently. If you like this video, like it. If you dislike it, dislike it. Let me know the reason for in the comment section below. And I will see you guys next time. Shush. May you all find peace in your domain. Okay, I figured I might as well emphasize this part. I still have the possibility of going to Ukraine. I'm still talking to a lot of people, and it looks like I might either become a tanker, an artillery gunner, or I might myself be a drone operator. And depending on where I go, I would hope that if I get to join the Ukrainian army, I get to be part of the Terra battalion, because holy shit, those guys kick ass. Or I get to roll with Civdiv, hopefully. But that's just hopes, but that might not ever get to be achieved, but it's fine. So, with all that being said, good luck to all of you guys. Salutations. Love you all, whether you like or dislike me. May you all find peace in the domain, whether you agree or disagree. Good luck and shuss.